He had been a genius designer at a top sneaker company, but because a newly designed running shoe had a flaw, it caused the company to lose $1 billion. The boss who once valued him turned on him without mercy, pinning all the blame on him alone. Now he faced two choices: either pay back the money or face prison time. At the same time, his girlfriend of many years left him at his lowest point. From a promising genius to a man despised by everyone, the huge fall shattered all of Drew's pride. With nowhere left to turn, a dark thought crossed his mind, but before he could do anything, his phone on the table suddenly wouldn't stop ringing. On the other end of the line, his sister's tearful voice brought terrible news.
Dad died.
His father had died suddenly of a heart attack. As the eldest son, Drew was given a task that had to be carried out immediately: take his father's remains from Elizabethtown back to Oregon. And so, Drew got a few days leave from the grip of death. But little did he know, in that nearly empty cabin, he met the girl who would heal him for the rest of his life. Claire was a vibrant, energetic girl. Because there were hardly any passengers on this flight, as a flight attendant, she was grateful that Drew had chosen to fly with them, and offered to upgrade him to first class for free. Faced with this unexpected warmth, Drew, feeling down, just wanted to be left alone. But Claire was clearly not the kind of person who could be easily brushed off.
Please don't make me keep walking all the way back down here all night long.
Looking at Claire's innocent yet slightly mischievous face, Drew reluctantly gave in. But he quickly realized that this was not a good place for him to sleep in peace, because Claire was a talker. She chattered away on her own, and when she learned Drew was going to Elizabethtown to find his father, Claire immediately became interested. She knew the town very well. Then she enthusiastically pulled out a piece of paper and began drawing an extremely complicated route map, talking as she drew, telling him how special that little town was. Then she launched into a long sharing of her thoughts on names. She said she could tell a person's character just by their name. When Drew absent-mindedly mentioned his boss Phil, who had just fired him, Claire's eyes suddenly widened.
Phil? Phils are dangerous.
Drew was stunned. Then he mentioned his ex-girlfriend's name, and Claire accurately described that name as someone who, to protect herself, would abandon others without hesitation. Drew had thought she was just a chatty flight attendant, but now a flicker of surprise passed through his eyes.
What's your dad's name?
Mitchell is sometimes Mitch.
Son of a Mitch.
If anyone else had made such jokes, it might have come off as extremely rude, but coming from Claire, it carried a strangely healing power.
He's okay, right?
Yeah, he's...
Claire could tell from his eyes that his father had passed away. She decided to do something for Drew. Before long, Drew leaned back in his seat and fell sound asleep. In his dream, he saw his father. His father had been an ordinary man who accepted life as it came, never achieving anything remarkable. But he was gentle and resilient. Even when his business suffered a heavy blow, he never grew depressed, always facing hardship with an optimistic, open smile. When the plane landed smoothly, Drew woke from his dream to see Claire's sunny smile. As he got off the plane, Claire pressed the map she had drawn, along with her contact information and a hotel discount coupon, into Drew's hands, and joked with him with a smile.
Better move quickly. Lots of people behind you.
Their brief time together was coming to an end. Claire suddenly took his hand and sincerely wished him well in the days ahead. Not only that, she even ran out of the airport after him, repeatedly reminding him not to miss the exit. But Drew, weighed down with worries, didn't take it to heart. As soon as he drove out of the airport, he left Claire's advice behind. Sure enough, the dizzying array of forks and signs soon left Drew completely lost. The complicated road slowly wore away his patience, and his pent-up emotions finally exploded. After several frustrated outbursts, Drew finally found the road to the town. But the moment he drove into Elizabethtown, a huge sense of dissonance washed over him. In this peaceful southern town, he was his father's pride, the genius in the eyes of all his relatives, who had made it big in the big city. Drew arrived at the house where his father had grown up, and found it full of relatives who had come to pay their respects. He was a complete failure, but his father had earned everyone's respect and deep love here, and the arrangements for the funeral had become Drew's biggest problem. His mother was firm on the phone, insisting that his father be cremated, and his ashes brought back to Oregon, but the relatives in town strongly opposed it. They believed Mitch belonged to Elizabethtown, and must be buried in a traditional grave. Caught between the pressure of his elders and his mother's orders, Drew was stuck in the middle, unable to move forward or back. Late at night, to escape the overbearing relatives, Drew checked into the hotel Claire had given him the coupon for. Unfortunately, next door was a bachelor party. The laughter and revelry of the crowd stood in stark irony to Drew's inner silence. He took out the business card Claire had left him and dialed the number. He thought a late-night call might disturb her, but Claire's voice on the other end was just as bright and clear as it had been during the day.
Are the roads as hellish as I told you?
Drew decided to tell her the real purpose of his trip.
Claire, my dad's dead.
I know.
She didn't show the slightest impatience. Instead, like an old friend of many years, she listened patiently to his troubles. Drew had sentenced his life to death over one fatal failure, but in Claire's worldview, failure was never the end of the road. It wasn't even a bad thing. It was the universe trying to push you in another direction. They talked from the hotel room to the hallway, from night until dawn. It was the most wonderful night Drew had ever experienced. And then Claire suddenly suggested they meet in person. They could meet halfway and watch the sunrise together. And so, on what should have been a mournful morning, Drew felt a rush of excitement he hadn't felt in a long time. They didn't hang coming up. Instead, each holding their phone, they slowly walked toward each other until they were close enough to hear each other's voices. Claire's vibrant, relaxed presence healed Drew's gloom and insecurity. After their brief time together, Claire had to leave for work. She was flying to Hawaii. In the days that followed, Drew was caught up in the whirlwind of funeral arrangements. What surprised him was that his mother, who had always been entirely dependent on his father, didn't completely fall apart. Instead, she began a kind of frantic self-rescue. She started learning to cook, signed up for tap dance classes, and even began trying to fix the broken old car. She filled the huge void in her life with this almost manic energy. This also made Drew realize that everyone grieves in their own way. His mother's strength made him resolve to stand firm against the relatives' pressure and have his father cremated. But just as he was figuring out his next move, Claire called.
I'm checking out this cute guy.
Why are you telling me that?
And the next second, she appeared right behind him. Claire had given up her flight to Hawaii. After confirming that Drew's father would be cremated, she took him to the funeral home to pick out an urn. In that room filled with the atmosphere of death, Claire's presence seemed to bring life. She helped Drew choose the most fitting urn and accompanied him into that grassy cemetery. Here, Drew should have been heavy with grief, but as long as Claire was by his side, all the gloom seemed to be automatically blocked out. They talked about their views on life, about how they'd want to be remembered if they ever died. At that moment, they were walking the line between friends and lovers, both hiding feelings of affection and longing. But the current situation wasn't right for love.
Now we actually have a shot at being friends. For the rest of our lives.
Claire kept a clear-headed boundary. She didn't want love to become Drew's escape from life. Back at the relative's house, Drew decided to honor the agreement his parents had made to scatter his father's ashes into the sea so he could be free to roam the mountains and oceans. To his surprise, the relatives chose to respect his wishes this time. The reason they had wanted a burial was to have a place to remember him, to visit his grave often, as if he were still there. In that moment, Drew saw the blue flame dancing on the gas stove. A sudden shock hit his heart, thinking of his gentle father, leaving the world in such a cold, tragic way. This sudden stab of pain made Drew want to stop the cremation at all costs, but it was too late.
Sorry.
Drew brought his father's ashes back to the hotel. The wedding next door had reached its peak. By chance, Claire was also at that wedding. In the dim lights and romantic music, Claire pulled Drew out of the crowd. She looked into his eyes, filled with pain and confusion, and decided to stop hiding her feelings. That simple confession became the loudest sound in Drew's life. He had always hidden behind a hard shell, but in front of Claire, he wanted to be reckless, to embrace this unexpected light without reservation. But the next morning, Claire hadn't disturbed him. She left only a bouquet of flowers for his father and quietly slipped away. Before she could get far, Drew ran after her and confessed everything to Claire. He told her about the failed shoes, about how he had cost the company $1 billion, about being a complete failure.
That's it?
Yes, that's it.
You think I care about that?
In Claire's eyes, if you want to achieve something great, you have to have the courage to accept failure. Even if you lose badly, you have to keep going. Make those who kicked you when you were down wonder why you're still smiling. Her words cut through the gloom in Drew's heart like a bolt of lightning. Greatness was never about never failing. It's about still turning toward the sun after a crushing defeat. Claire's honesty and acceptance completely healed Drew's deepest insecurities. The memorial service for his father arrived as planned. His mother and sister, who had come all the way from Oregon, arrived in town. On display was his father's favorite saying. Everything looked sad until his mother took the stage. In a humorous way, she told the story of how she and her husband met and shared his lively, endearing little quirks. Then, to everyone's astonishment, his mother performed the tap dance she had just learned, a little clumsy, but utterly sincere. Tears streamed down her face, but her smile was radiant. Every turn was a heartfelt tribute to the man she had lost and a hopeful look toward the future. This extraordinary memorial broke everyone's conventional ideas about funerals. A true goodbye isn't about wailing in grief. It's about living well with the memories. As long as someone remembers, the departed never truly leave. Outside the memorial hall, Drew met Claire again. She handed him a thick booklet. It was a handmade travel guide she had stayed up several nights to create. She knew Drew would be driving his father back to Oregon, but right now he was like a wanderer lost in the wilderness of life, without direction, without confidence. Claire understood his confusion and helplessness, and worried he might lose his way again, so she crafted a one-of-a-kind map for him. After the funeral, Drew set off with his father's ashes on a cross-country road trip across America. It wasn't just a simple journey home, it was a baptism of the soul. Every page of the map had detailed routes and scenic spots, even down to the exact minute when he should play a particular song from the CD. Claire told him not to rush the road. He needed to feel the road. When he pulled up to a remote newsstand, the map told him to stop and buy the business magazine that had just come out that day. On the cover of that magazine was the failed running shoe with an image mocking Drew.
You have 5 minutes to wallow in the delicious misery. Enjoy it, embrace it, discard it,
You can be sad, but you can't stay drowned in it forever. Drew kept driving, following the Mississippi River all the way forward. He passed the motel where Elvis once stayed, stopped at the site where civil rights leader Dr. King was assassinated, and saw a survivor tree that had weathered countless storms, yet still stood tall. In the presence of these great souls and magnificent landscapes, his personal failures seemed so trivial. Claire wanted him to step out of his slump, to embrace a free and vibrant life again, and that long, solitary drive became Drew's private time to talk with his father across the void. He dropped all pretense, sometimes murmuring to the air, recalling fragments of their time together, sometimes letting his emotions break down, and sobbing openly on the empty highway. Drew scattered his father's ashes, bit by bit, into the scenery along the way, letting his father truly return to the vast earth, and slowly, he made peace with the failed version of himself. Then, following Claire's guidance all the way forward, Drew found those failed sneakers, and discovered 2 choices written on them.
You can go to your car and the rest of the directions will take you home. Or look for a girl in a red hat who's waiting for you with an alternate plan.
This time, Drew didn't hesitate for a second. Among the crowd, there were many people in red hats, but none of them were her. Until in the distance, he saw a girl whose smile shone brighter than the sun. The moment their eyes met, all the waiting meant something. In that bustling market, they held each other tightly. Claire was like a beam of light in Drew's darkest moments. She appeared at every low point in his life, and in the end, with a carefully drawn map, she guided Drew out of the abyss of self-loathing, teaching him how to make peace with the past. Life doesn't end just because of one failure. Allow yourself 5 minutes to grieve, but after those 5 minutes, throw it in the trash and keep moving forward, because as long as you're still moving, all the failures and regrets will eventually become the prologue to something new.